My name is Jessica Brown. I'm 32 years old and work as a product manager at a technology company in New York. On the surface, my life seemed to be going perfectly, but beneath that, complex family circumstances lurked. I started working at a technology company right after graduating from college. Having studied computer science at MIT and graduated at the top of my class, I received offers from several famous companies. However, I chose a relatively small but rapidly growing startup. The reason was simple: I felt I could maximize my abilities there. Over the next 5 years, I literally worked without sparing time for sleep. I was the first to arrive in the morning and the last to leave at night. That effort paid off, and at the young age of 32, I was promoted to product manager. Meanwhile, my younger sister Kelly had been leading a practically freeloader life under the guise of looking for a job that suits her. After graduating from college, my parents continued to defend her as delicate and easily hurt. To me, it just seemed like coddling. I kept a reasonable distance from such a family and sprinted full force in my job while living alone in Manhattan. However, a year ago, the company where my father worked suddenly went bankrupt. Triggered by this, I gave up living alone in Manhattan and started living at home with my parents and sister, Kelly, who is 2 years younger than me. Our family of 4 couldn't maintain the house without my salary. Initially, I thought we could manage modestly by using my salary and my father's savings. But as time passed, my father's savings ran out and my main job's salary alone was insufficient. Reluctantly, I followed up on acquaintances' connections and started working on holidays, in addition to my main job. Honestly, with no days of rest, both my mind and body were screaming. However, I kept telling myself to endure until my father found a new job and Kelly found work. Jessica, about tomorrow's dinner, Kelly says she wants to eat steak. My mother started one day. I inwardly sighed and responded, "Yeah. And it looks like we're running low on grocery money. We can't afford fancy meat. Could you add a little more to the grocery fund?" I frowned. "It's only halfway through the month, isn't it?" Then Kelly interrupted. "The living expenses you're giving are too little. You're joking, right? I'm giving $3,000. There's no way that's not enough." Kelly snorted. "Jessica, don't you know about inflation? $3,000 is not enough for a family of 4. I couldn't hold back my anger anymore. "What do you mean only? If you have so many complaints, why don't you work and contribute to the household? That's not possible. Job hunting costs money. It would be cruel to Kelly." My mother defended her. I cursed inwardly. Despite claiming to be job hunting, Kelly was actually just hanging out at the mall every day. Worse, the living expenses I provided were being given as pocket money to her by our mother. Enough already. If it's really that hard, why don't we sell this house and move to Grandma's farm then? There are jobs there, and living costs would be. Absolutely not. I don't want to return to such a countryside. My mother immediately refused. My grandmother ran a small organic farm in Pennsylvania, and the business was doing well. If we lived with her and helped on the farm, we'd get a salary and could eat fresh vegetables. Life would be easier. But my grandmother was strict, especially about farm work, which my mother disliked. Rather, she wanted to avoid the physical labor of farm work. My father always said the same thing. We should all work together to maintain this life instead of relying on Grandma right away. That's what being dependent means. I wanted to scream internally. It's ridiculous to call me dependent when I'm the one earning the living expenses in front of a sister who doesn't want to work. Since moving back home, my parents' excessive leniency towards Kelly had become even more apparent. One day, an incident left a deep scar in my heart. I had been working late preparing for an important presentation and returned home exhausted. When I entered the living room, Kelly was laughing loudly and drinking wine with her friends. The clock was pointing at 1 a.m. "Kelly, I have an early meeting tomorrow. Could you keep it down a bit?" Kelly looked at me and rolled her eyes exaggeratedly. Oh, work, work, work? You need to have some fun once in a while. Then, my mother popped her head out from the kitchen. Jessica, why don't you join them? Kelly's friends are all nice kids. I can't believe this. You know I have an important presentation at tomorrow's meeting, right? Well, my father intervened. Kelly needs to relieve stress too. Job hunting is tough. I was speechless. Kelly's job hunting consisted of shopping at high-end boutiques and cafe hopping with friends. Yet my parents defended her as if she was genuinely struggling to find a job. This unfair treatment had been ongoing since we were children. I remember one Christmas vividly when I was 10 and Kelly was 8. I had been recognized by my school for excellent science grades that year. I had asked Santa for a microscope I wanted, but on Christmas morning, I found a cheap stationery set instead. Meanwhile, Kelly had a costly Barbie dream house in front of her. She hadn't particularly wanted it. She just mentioned it was cute after seeing it in a TV commercial. But I said I wanted a microscope. I protested. My mother responded as if lecturing. Such an expensive item is impossible. You're big enough to understand, right? This pattern repeated over the years. Even when I won awards in club activities, it was dismissed as expected, yet there was a big fuss if Kelly achieved average grades. When I wanted to take lessons in something, it was declined because it costs money, whereas money was lavishly spent on Kelly's piano and ballet lessons. The disparity became even more apparent when it was time for college. I wanted to attend MIT, but my parents opposed it, saying, "The tuition is too expensive." Eventually, I managed to get their permission by securing a scholarship and deciding to cover part of the tuition with a part-time job. On the other hand, Kelly's grades were so poor that attending a private university was almost out of the question. Yet my parents sent her to an expensive prep school and even hired a tutor for her. Kelly is delicate. It's for our daughter's future, they would say. But this unfairness gradually hardened my heart. Kelly's room had the latest MacBook, and her closet was filled with high-end brand clothes, all bought by my mother under the guise of being necessary for her studies. Meanwhile, when my old laptop broke down, my parents said they couldn't afford to replace it. Living at home brought back all these memories on a daily basis. One evening, Kelly suddenly said, "I want a new iPhone." "Didn't you just get one last year?" I pointed out. She replied discontentedly, "If it's not the latest model, my friends will laugh at me." Well, my mother seemed to ponder for a moment but soon said, "Jessica, can you increase the living expenses a bit?" "It's necessary for Kelly." I put down my fork. Unbelievable. My salary is for the family's living expenses, not for Kelly's luxuries. What luxuries? Kelly raised her voice. "I'm struggling with job hunting too. You don't understand my feelings." My father intervened. "Jessica, have some compassion for your sister. We're a family." At that moment, something inside me nearly snapped. Yet, I tried to remain calm. "Then let me ask you, how many companies has Kelly applied to this week? How many interviews has she had?" That's. Kelly was at a loss for words. "I'm in the information gathering stage." "Information gathering?" I laughed sarcastically. "Is browsing for branded goods at the shopping mall what you call information gathering?" "Jessica," my mother scolded. "Don't corner Kelly. She's trying her best." "Her best?" My voice trembled slightly. When I started working right after university, no one said I was doing my best. Instead, I was told to try harder. My parents fell silent. Their silence felt like proof of the past's unfairness. That night, as I worked in my room, I overheard a conversation between my mother and Kelly in the living room. "It's okay, Kelly. Tomorrow, I'll buy the iPhone with my card. But what if Jessica gets angry? Just keep quiet about it. We're family. After all, we should help each other out a bit." Hearing that conversation, I sighed. My parents' attitude was not only hindering Kelly's growth but also corroding the bonds of our family. However, to change this situation, someone had to stand up. And perhaps that someone might have to be me. One day, the news surfaced that Kelly was engaged. Kelly had a boyfriend named Tony, whom she met through a friend's introduction. Tony was indeed a successful investment banker with a promising future. However, it was clear that Kelly was attracted to him for his financial stability. Likely, Kelly had approached Tony with ulterior motives hidden. Using her natural sociability, she must have made her way into his circle. Indeed, Kelly's demeanor in front of Tony was entirely different from how she acted around me. Her usual assertive remarks were gone, and in front of him, she adopted a sweet, doting expression. As their relationship progressed, Kelly's behavior escalated further. "Hey, Jessica." One day, Kelly entered my room. "Tony's parents are going to set us up with a new apartment before we get engaged." "Oh, that's nice," I responded nonchalantly. "But we need to furnish it. I especially want to coordinate the bedroom with luxury furniture." I could guess where this was heading. "You want me to give you money?" "Please. I'll definitely pay you back later," Kelly said with a voice that would have been hard for the old me to refuse. "The answer is no. That's enough." Then, my mother entered the room. Apparently, she had been listening to our conversation from outside the door. "Jessica, why are you being so cold? Your sister is trying to find happiness." "Happiness?" I scoffed. "The only reason why Kelly approached Tony is his money. And now, she's counting on my money too." "What are you saying?" My mother raised her voice. "Kelly truly cares for Tony." "Truly?" I interrupted her. "Did you know she's been searching on marriage sites for annual income over $200,000? Kelly's face turned pale. My mother looked bewildered. "And before meeting Tony, wasn't she devouring books like How to Marry a Rich Man?" "That's..." Kelly faltered. "Can't deny it, can you? I saw your browser history when you asked me to fix your computer." My mother still tried to defend her. "But that's..." "Enough." My voice trembled. "This is why Kelly hasn't grown at all, because you keep coddling her." That night, my father visited my room. "Jessica, Kelly might be a bit spoiled, but she's trying to find her own happiness. It's not right to interfere with that." "Her own happiness?" I said in dismay. "Do you think happiness gained by deceiving and using others is real?" My father fell silent. His silence seemed to affirm my words. The situation took a major turn on a Monday morning. I received a notification from my credit card company about a suspected unauthorized use. When I checked, there was a $15,000 charge at a local luxury jewelry store. Shocked, I thought it necessary to return home early to investigate, fearing that a family member might have lost my credit card and it was being misused by someone else. However, when I got home, I was greeted by an unexpected scene. In the living room, my mother and Kelly were joyfully looking at an expensive-looking engagement ring. At that moment, I understood the meaning of the credit card usage notification I had received. "What is this all about?" My voice trembled, more from deep disappointment than anger. I asked quietly, yet suppressing my anger. "Oh, Jessica?" "Listen, Kelly has officially been proposed to," my mother responded joyfully. "Look, isn't it lovely?" Kelly proudly displayed the ring. "And that ring?" "Oh, I bought it with your card. We're family, so it's only natural to use it for your sister's happiness, right?" I felt like everything was going dark in front of me. "You used my card without permission." "It's okay. Once I marry Tony, I'll pay it back right away," Kelly said, as if she hadn't done anything wrong. "Who gave you permission?" "I don't need permission. We're family," Kelly said proudly. "Besides, this is necessary for making a good impression on Tony, who works on Wall Street." "Is that what this is about? Using someone else's card without permission is a crime." "How are you a stranger?" My mother interjected. Aren't we family? It's natural for family to help each other out. That moment, something snapped inside me. Her words irreparably broke my reasoning. That night, I spent a long time in my room, thinking about the continuous unfair treatment from my childhood, my parents' favoritism, and their recent betrayal. All these combined into a single resolution within me. For the 3 weeks leading up to the engagement party, I acted as usual. My parents and Kelly seemed to believe that I had forgiven the incident with the ring. However, I had been carefully crafting a plan. When the day of Kelly and Tony's engagement party arrived, it was held in the banquet room of the upscale Plaza Hotel, with about 100 relatives and friends from both families gathered. Kelly, dressed in a pure white gown, stood next to Tony, smiling happily. My parents proudly spoke about their daughter finding a good match. I debated whether to stay until the end, but ultimately decided to request time for a speech. This might be an irreversible choice, but considering the years of unfair treatment and the recent betrayal, I could no longer hesitate. The host introduced me, and I stood in front of the microphone. The lights in the venue focused on me, drawing all eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for gathering here today for my sister Kelly's engagement party. I began in a calm tone. My parents looked relieved, probably expecting a sisterly blessing to follow. Actually, there is something I need to discuss with you all. I took a deep breath. It's about the beautiful engagement ring on Kelly's finger. That ring was purchased using my credit card without my permission. The room fell silent. The color drained from Kelly's face. Tony looked bewildered, glancing between his fiancée and me. My family has been living off my income for years. After his company went bankrupt, my father didn't try to find new work, and my mother refused to give up a life of luxury. And my sister Kelly, now 30, has never worked a day in her life. My parents started to rise from their seats in a panic, but I continued. And now, they've bought an expensive engagement ring without my consent. They tried to justify this criminal act with the phrase, "because we're family." Tony's parents' expressions turned stern, especially Tony's father, who could barely hide his anger. "Tony," I addressed him, "I don't think you know the real Kelly. Do you know why she approached you?" Kelly screamed. "Stop it. Please, just stop." But I didn't halt. "She was attracted to your status and income. In fact, before meeting you, she was looking for a wealthy man. I know she searched online for how to find a rich husband and frequented upscale clubs." Tony stood up, his face a mix of anger and sadness. "Is this true, Kelly?" Kelly couldn't respond, she just broke down crying. Then, unexpectedly, someone else stood up, my grandmother. She began to speak in a calm yet dignified voice. "I have something to say." The room's attention shifted to her. "I've been worried about this family's dynamics for a long time. My daughter and son-in-law's coddling, the excessive leniency towards my granddaughter, and the unfair treatment towards my other granddaughter." My grandmother looked at my parents. "You've taken Jessica's efforts and dedication for granted for too long, and now the results are evident here." She turned to me, her eyes filled with understanding and sympathy. "Jessica, I fully understand your feelings, but you don't need to hurt yourself anymore. Enough is enough." Then, she turned back to my parents and Kelly. "All of you, come to my farm. You will work there and relearn what it means to be human. This is not a suggestion, it's an order." Tony's parents stood up, took their son, and left the venue. The engagement was effectively off. Once again, my grandmother spoke. "So, I heard about the situation from Jessica over the phone. Are you three ready with your bags?" "Are you kidding me?" my mother exclaimed in shock. Just then, a police officer entered. As my bewildered family struggled to comprehend the situation, I explained. I had already reported it. The unauthorized use of my card is a criminal act. You could go to prison for this, but if you're willing to work hard under Grandma's supervision and show you're ready to change, maybe things can be different. My parents and Kelly were speechless at the sudden turn of events. However, they accepted the situation and chose to work at the farm. I decided to throw them a lifeline for the last time. Some might call it leniency, but they were family after all. That evening, a large moving truck arrived. Their belongings had already been shipped to my grandmother's farm. I decided to rent a new apartment and return to living alone. Kelly agreed to slowly repay the cost of the ring by working at the farm. While setting up my new life, I looked out the window. The evening sky was stained red. Time passed, and a year went by. I had fully adjusted to life in my new apartment. Work was going well, and I had been selected as the leader of a new project. On weekends, I enjoyed my hobby of reading and sometimes went out for brunch with friends. I felt like I had finally regained a normal life. One day, I received a call from my grandmother. "Jessica, how are you doing?" Her voice sounded softer than usual. "Fine, thanks to you." "That's good. You know, it's about Kelly." I caught my breath. "She has changed quite a bit. She's up early preparing for the day and takes her work seriously now. She's even getting good reviews from those around her." "Really?" I replied, somewhat skeptically. "Yes, they are all changing little by little." My grandmother continued, "Your father has relearned the value of work through physical labor at the farm. Your mother is gradually letting go of her attachment to a luxurious life. But the most significant change is in Kelly. She's finally learned what it means to work seriously. She's developed a sense of responsibility. Recently, she even started attending a local vocational school to study agricultural management." "It's all thanks to you, Grandma." "No, it's thanks to you," my grandmother kindly said. "It was your tough decision that woke everyone up. I sometimes wonder if my choice was the right one. Was there a gentler way to do it that night? But now I'm convinced that it was a necessary decision. Standing on the terrace of my new home, looking out at the Manhattan skyline, I think to myself, complete forgiveness may still be a long way off. But at least my family is trying to change. And I too am slowly moving forward, dealing with the anger from the past. I remember the last words my grandmother said to me, "Life is long, Jessica. You may be hurt and angry now, but time can heal. And sometimes things turn out better than we could have ever imagined." I haven't reached that state yet, but at least now I can walk through life on my own terms. That might be enough for me at the moment. And maybe, someday, we might truly reunite as a family. Holding on to that small hope, I look up at the night sky. The wind on the terrace gently strokes my hair. It felt like the wind was announcing a new beginning.